right, you legends. Yet another adventure. I'm about maybe 100 meters from the start point. Decided to make this film. A bunch of people had sent me requests about Suki cycling, and I wanted to just stress that. I will mention it also in the voiceover. Suki Cycling has great deals, but if you use Velo Harmony as a code, you get an additional 15%. A lot of people have been buying stuff from them, but not using that code. So you've been leaving money on the table. The Suki-cycling.com. That's where you get great. Our kit is available and their regular jerseys as well. I've gotten to where I'm wearing their stuff all the time and nothing else, because it's just very nice stuff and they're easy to deal with. So check them out. We get some good clips for you all today.
On this ride, I left Northampton, rolled into the woodlands. I picked up the group at the Alden Village Center. We headed out. We're going west on this ride. Alden Bridge, went out past Oklahoma. Tomball, Texas. We went out 2920, Rose Hill. All of that off camera. After the first stop, I started to film as we headed further northwesterly, 362. Past Field Store, we took County Road 302 off of 362 there. All of that's on film. Got the Todd Mission. We stopped at the store there, then continued through Magnolia, Texas on 1774 to 149. We kind of went down and came back up because 1488 is under construction, so we wanted to avoid that area. But I think you will like the clips that we put out together for you. This July Saturday ride was the mildest one I've experienced in July since I lived in Houston area. So the weather has changed for the better. We're on the open road. This is after our first stop in the Rose Hill area. We're on a road called Roberts Cemetery Road. I'm sitting behind Paulie Longa here. We're headed kind of northwesterly. It's a good turnout. It's a very mild day. See, it says 27 Celsius. That's like 80 degrees Fahrenheit, let's say. Very, very nice. Most of the ride, we're riding around 22 plus miles per hour. Moved over most of the time to kind of get good shots of the pace line, but this is pretty much how I ride to make sure that I'm not using the brakes. So when there's a lull in the pace, which inevitably happens in every pace line, you drift one way or the other. I think we're going into the wind here. That's my navigation beeping to let us know there's a turn coming. This is a new route, and so I loaded the map on my head unit. This area is called Stagecoach. Well, the street around here, Stagecoach Butera is nearby. I think this is Nichols Sawmill. I'm going to be turning left. A lot of rides when we come out here. This shopping center on the right where you see that U-Haul truck coming from, there's a store there. We usually stop there. We usually will go in the opposite way on the Romeo rides that Abby hosts. This is a big cycling area. The Northwest Cycling Club has been coming here for decades. That was Abby drifting to the back. So I'm looking around the riders in front of me as usual. That's why you saw me avoid that gravel over there. I'm always looking around to see what's coming on the pavement. This Nichols Sawmill Road in both directions is very conducive for what I call high exercise potential cycling. We're going somewhat west, so we're getting out of town even further out. We're going to be heading towards an area called Todd Mission, close to Whitehall, Texas. We will be within a few kilometers of Whitehall, Texas, maybe 5 kilometers, but we don't actually go into Whitehall. And I started the filming where I did because I wanted to get most of the heaviest climbing. As you can see, if you look at the route at the top where it says 72, we're heading towards the highest points in this ride. So I waited until we got out into most of the climbs to kind of show you. And you won't see it on camera, but you will kind of see the effect of it. I was having some challenges with my chain. It was slipping off the big ring, but it didn't drop. And so what I didn't do was I didn't panic. I just let off the pressure when it happened and just pushed the lever and got it back on there. I must have accidentally touched the lever. So I didn't drop my chain, and we were on a climb. But you'll see me lose my place in the group and then eventually come back. This road is it's kind of like a grade. So it says 0.7 on the gradient. Now we're going to be descending. This is Nichols Sawmill Road. If you stay on it, I think it connects to a road called Magnolia Road. So you can ride out here for a lot of kilometers before you have to stop. So this part of the road is a bit chewed up, and you have to be even more vigilant to look for bumps. Logan pulling off the front. Did a bit of work for the group. Just moved to the back to sit in. And so what your group should not do is start changing the pace too dramatically. If you've got people pulling, when they're done, keep the pace close to what they were doing so that they can sit in, get a drink, recover. Then you have an ally to come back and continue to do the work for the group. And when you're pulling yourself in a group that has a lot of riders, don't feel like you have to sit at the front too long. Take a shorter pull, save something in case the pace changes. Those are kind of bumpy over there, so I move a little to the left. The pavement towards the middle is smoother. So this section of this road is the same road, but the name has changed. It's now called Magnolia Road. So Nichols Sawmill has become Magnolia Road as you head further out of the Stagecoach Butera area. We're heading more towards an area called Field Store. I'm starting to like this area out here because it's a good variety versus the north side that we've been frequenting. We had a few parts of the route when I edited the route that had some glitches in it. I've since cleaned it up because the map was misdirecting in certain spots. The tool that we use on Garmin is a little temperamental sometimes. This road that we just turned on is called Macedonia Road. I think we were in Greece. And because these roads are rural, they don't spend a ton of money trying to keep them updated. You can see cracks in the pavement because water has made its way into the asphalt. When we have heavy rains, they probably have water over the road at some point. But that's why we come out here, because it's quiet. Low traffic volume. So all I'm doing is making sure I try to find the smoothest patches of pavement that I can keep my wheels on. And you can tell when the rattling goes down. See Paul dodging those ruts, ridges in the road. The speeds have picked up. We're going slightly downhill as I leave a little more room. some of the repairs that the road crew has made out here, they just drop the asphalt. They're not very smooth. So even the repairs feel like speed bumps. So we avoid those spots. There's a hole in the road. Yeah, this area, that's water. Water does this kind of damage to asphalt. So that means these creeks out here, there are a lot of creeks in the area. So we have Spring Creek. That's one of our longest creeks in the area. It's called Spring Creek. When they reach that overflow their banks, they flood. And all these creeks are connected. So when they release the dam, you have flooding. There's nothing recent, but over the years, it really affects the substructure below the asphalt. You can see how I'm looking around the riders. Don't wait for signals. Keep your eye up ahead. Look around the riders to see what's coming. So you don't have to make last minute adjustments. We're doing almost 25 miles an hour now. I'm staying to the right here because it looks a little smoother, and I come back to the middle. It's a rut. So Ed's done pulling, he's drifting back. You can hear the pavement smooths out, so it's quieter. It's mostly farmland out here. I mean, they've probably converted quite a bit of it into single family home subdivisions, but it's farm country. That was Logan that said car back. We're holding our position because there's not much else we can do. The road's very narrow. We don't want them passing in our lane. So they're gonna have to pass in the other lane. And the driver is waiting until he gets more visibility. Because that was a curve. We're getting into another curve. This one looks like it's going up 2-point-some%. You see the watts go up. So 400 or some watts. This is where the map kind of messes up. It wanted us to go right and then backtrack to come left. So we're going to go left. Doug had already mentioned, so I told him ignore the map, we're turning left. I've fixed it since then.
Go left. Left side, left side, left side. Gonna have us doubling back. Thanks, Doug.
When you make adjustments to a course, when you edit a course on Garmin Connect, it has an option of following popular routes or following roads. And if you have what they call a point of interest or a reference point on your map, it forces you to go by that point. So when you drag the route, it leaves points. So you have to delete the points in order for it to move everything. And it did not move that line properly. And I didn't catch it before I released the map. So I fixed it up. So we're good. But it was having us go right and come back left. For less than, let's say, less than an eighth of a mile. or 600 meters or something like that. So Doug shot caught it. He reviewed the map and he saw it. We're making routes and trying to avoid. We have a lot of road construction in our area this summer. I guess this is when they can do it, but it's all over town. They're working on roads everywhere, even near where I live. And school's gonna open in a week. Let's say a couple of weeks. Mid-August, schools will open. So I guess they're trying to hurry up in the areas that have schools, but it's just everywhere. We try to avoid the areas that are under construction. It's not very conducive to cycling because then you have congestion and then you're breathing polluted air, and it's just crowded. So we're making routes that are taking us around the areas that are under construction as much as possible. The roads less traveled. So this road we're on is called Joseph Road. It will take us all the way into an area called Field Store, and then we'll get on a highway called 362. As you can see, we've had minimal reasons to stop, and we've been riding for a while. So that's the way we plan our routes. Even during the week when I ride near where I live, I take a circuitous route to avoid congestion. So I can ride near my house for 90 minutes and not have to do too much stopping once I get out of my area. So I want to get a workout. I don't want to be stopping. And one time I talked to Maurizio, one of our riders in the area, and he had done a route on Strava, and I saw it, and I'm like, how did you cover so many kilometers in, let's say, an hour? He said, I only made right turns. Because you can turn right on red in our area. And if you're making right turns only, you're not going across the road. You're not going across traffic. So there's no conflicts that much. And so because he made right turn, he covered a lot of kilometers in a short ride in town. And that's why I asked him. And he said, yeah, go only right turns. So he's got it figured out the way you keep moving. There are times on his route where I would see he would come to an intersection and go right and do a U-turn just to keep moving. You keep the effort up, keep the heart rate up, instead of having to sit at the light where your heart rate drops too low. Because he wants to get a workout in that time. He wants to work as hard as possible for the allotted time and go on with the rest of his day. You have to have good time management to do anything, pretty much. You've got a finite amount of time, 24 hours in a day. You got to do other stuff. Even on my very long rides, I calculate usually 6 hours for cycling, like on Saturdays. I clip in at 6 a.m. and around noon, between noon and 12:30, I'm done. And the bike gets put up and I go on with the rest of my day. That's Laura on the left. She's done pulling. She's drifting to the back. La Pirata, the pirate. can see where they just dropped the asphalt to try to patch this thing. That road crew should be ashamed of themselves. That's a poor job of patching. If you're gonna patch the road, it needs to be smooth. You just drop it and move on. Because these roads are not heavily traveled. See, I went around that patch because it was too rough. The last time we came out here, I took us on a road called Park Road. It was quiet, but it was so beat up. I mean, I'm talking potholes galore. And so I made sure I avoided it on this trip. Plus, I wanted us to go on County Road 302, which you will see. It's got a nice long climb. That's probably where the highest point of the map is. And all of that's on film. So we've been riding for about almost 2 hours. 3 for me because I start at 6. So I'll ride 2 additional hours after the group ride. The group ride is usually about 3.5, 4 hours. And I'll ride 2 hours extra. There's nothing out here. That was a 3-way stop. We just roll. There's nothing out here. That's why we come out here. That's why the roads are all beat up. You know. The secondary roads. Because of the areas that are low lying, when water gets over it gets chewed up. It takes a while before they come and do anything with it. You know, I'm sure the locals have to call and say, hey, you know, I'm sure there's a process for it to get the attention it needs. That was another poor patching job where you see those black blotches of asphalt. Feel like you're going over cobblestones. This is the same road called Joseph Road. You look in the inset on the right, that little map, it lets you know. I'm sure you noticed that we've been riding for quite some time, and we may have had maybe 1 or 2 vehicles pass us, but that's how it is out here. We're in the country. People have large estates. Some people have agricultural farms and stuff. See these fences or their ranches and stuff. It's very private out here. There's no major industry. So you got to have a reason to be on these roads. Nobody's taking these roads to go into the city or anything out of the way. It's almost like going through somebody's subdivision, so to speak. But these are farms. Look at the fences on the right. Large acreage properties. Once we get on 362, the pavement is much improved. It's not that terrible out here. It's okay. But much smoother because that's a major highway. Probably a state highway. These are almost like county roads. Depending on which county you're in, the funding might be limited. Harris County has more funding because it has the highest population in the area. Then we got Waller County, it's a smaller county. It's not as populous and doesn't have the tax base to keep the roads, in super condition all the time. I think we get into Waller County out here. So we're close to Waller and Montgomery counties, especially once we get to Todd Mission. But out here, I think we're closer to Waller. Waller is more westerly from where we live. About the only thing in Waller County that's famous for is a university called Prairie View A&M University. If it weren't for that university, that town would be a dead town. There's not a whole lot going on there. So we'll have a turn coming up. That's my nav. I think we're making a right turn. And out here, these roads are kind of weird. Like we just turn right. And we'll turn onto a road called Field Store Road. The area we're in is called Field Store. It's like a town. And this road is going to take us to 1488. On the map, I had us staying on a small side road. But once we got to the corner, it wasn't that busy, so we just went ahead and used 1488, which is the western piece of the road that's under construction in Magnolia. But we're miles away from Magnolia right now. And out here is very rural, and the highway is really lightly used. So Abby suggested let's just use 1488. You see the store on the left here? That's a good stopping point. We've stopped there before with another group. And I always make a note of stuff like that. So we're supposed to turn on this road.
Let's take the highway. I thought that was a better. Let's take the highway. Take the highway. All right.
So this road would have taken us.
Let's take the highway.
This road would have taken us parallel. That road would have taken us parallel with the highway. It's very quiet. It's probably smoother than most of the roads we've been on.
It's quiet, but it looks a little. It's not too bad.
So if we had stayed on that road, we would have been under those trees on the left, parallel to the highway. So if I were coming by myself, I would use that road because it's quiet and it goes about maybe a kilometer and a half, and then it brings you back to 362, which is where we're going to turn right off of this highway, because this is 1488. The traffic is faster, but it's not busy on this Saturday morning. So we're going to use the highway. But whenever possible, I like to use the quietest possible road. So on the route, it called for that road. And hopefully the camera would pick up where it brings us back to the highway. There are stretches of this highway where they put those rumble strips right there on the right. Don't roll over those. They're not fun. They will shake you up. So we're using the road. You can either use the road or you can ride to the right of it. But I went ahead and edited the map and just made the turn the highway. So if we ever come back here, we'll just use the highway. We're going to be turning right. There's the road on the left where that tree is. I think Paul was pointing to it. Yeah, that's where it was coming out.
Right there. The map had the detour. Yeah.
No, it messed up.
Yeah.
It's supposed to go this way. I'll check it. It messed up. This will take us to 301.
Actually, it's 302.
I'll have to check it. It messed up, my brother.
The map was recalculating on its head unit, trying to get us on that little street that we bypassed. That's all.
Yeah, I will check it.
I have fixed it, so it's fine. It wanted to take us on the quietest route possible, even after we had ad-libbed on that corner. So now we're on 362, and this is a state highway. We're off of the neighborhood roads. You see how smooth it is? It's more heavily traveled, so they've invested more on these roads. It's not, the volume is not high, but the speeds are higher when the cars come by. But it's pretty good for cycling. So we only use these to get to other quiet roads. When I'm cycling by myself, I don't particularly care to be on these kind of high-speed roads for cars. I like the rural, quiet roads, so I can focus on what I'm doing. But it's all right. It's not that bad. You're out in the country, you get a car now and then. A truck. A lot of the trucks will tap their horn as they go by and say hi. I get that a lot. And Abby usually waves. That's Abby in front of me. So because of all the bumps, the camera has dropped a little bit on the holder because the Garmin holder is not designed to. They put the ability for you to attach stuff underneath your head unit, but depending on what you attach and where you ride, if it bounces enough, it can move. So periodically in the ride, sometimes I would notice that the camera has dipped down. I'd bring it up, but at this point I wasn't paying attention to it. But I actually like the vantage point we got, so you get to really see. I pulled to the left so I wouldn't have to brake. And I believe that we have a split. There are some riders up the road. When we turned over there, people let gaps open, and so we're trying to catch. So we're doing like 50 kilometers an hour. So even though it's a minus 1.9% descent, that's pretty fast because it's like a flat road. We're doing above 30 miles an hour. So the effort here is high. We're closing the gap. I just went around somebody. We're coming up to the group. There were a few riders off the front, so we're riding up to catch up.
Fall back. Fall back.
We need to single up. There we go. It just makes it easier for them to see and decide when to pass. We don't get off the road. We stay where the right tire of the cars ride. But it's better to single file on these kind of roads. It's very busy. A nice tight line here. This road is going to take us to County Road 302, which is the highest point. Where you see, if you look at the route at the top, we're approaching the highest point in the route on the ride. This is an FM. It's a farm to market road. These farms out here use these roads to get the foods to the market. So the road is gradually going up. Now we're going north, I believe. North, kind of northwesterly. So the road's going up. You can see where we are on the route to the left, where we started from the woodlands, and we're at the furthest, well, almost the furthest westerly point, and we're going to do a loop and come back east. It gives you an idea of how we covered the route. I really like the graphics on this software. So most of the drivers will pass like you saw in the other lane. You always get the odd nut that wants to act like they have a right to the road, like it was willed to them or something. Those are the ones you want to avoid. It's not worth the hassle. Let them go. Well, if they don't hit you, just get them off your mind when they go by. It's not that often, but you have a tendency to remember those occurrences. So I try not to engage people like that because they'll beat you with they're stupid enough to beat you with the experience of being stupid. You can't win that. So 99.9% of the people will go by like that, go about their business. There's always a one hero that wants to act like his father was Thomas Jefferson or something, or George Washington. Those are the ones that make the news, the evening news. Blah, blah, blah was shot, but they don't tell you why. There's a lot of shootings in the Houston area, but the context matters. People who don't mind their business have issues. If you mess with the wrong person, you will have an issue. I was taught to go about your business and don't hassle other people. And if you do that, you're ahead of the curve. Because I don't watch our local news because it's pressing. They'll talk about 6, 7 shootings like it's happening on every corner and don't give you the context of why those yahoos were shot. There's nobody randomly going around shooting people. People are engaging in nefarious behavior sometimes, or they don't mind their business. You run into issues. There are nuts everywhere. You don't want to meet them. So I don't want to hear about it on my evening news. So I watch the weather and stuff on the Weather Channel. I don't tune into our local news. Because when you watch our local news, you think like, man, is this the town I live in? You know. Which is why our police officers have a high rate of depression. They got to deal with all kinds of nonsense every day. That stuff puts a lot of weight on you. I give them credit. I don't want their job. It's not easy. So you listen to the evening news, you're like, man, I need to move out of this town. But that's not reflective of what's happening. It's just that the evening news is looking for stuff that will get your attention. They're trying to report stuff that would keep you glued to the tube. So I don't patronize them. So this is going to take us to County Road 302. It's kind of just a drag, and then we're going into the wind here. So I try to keep my cadence close to 90 as possible, but I don't watch it, and it's not a necessary requirement. You just have to listen to your legs and listen to how you feel. There are times when I want to spin a faster cadence. There are times when I need to push in. Let's say we're going uphill into the wind and the group is putting the power down. That's not the time to fan a small gear. Especially if the effort's going to be long, because you can go anaerobic trying to spin a high cadence for very long in certain situations. You need to find the rhythm that works for you. We're doing almost 25 miles an hour, and I was there, and I can tell you, there's no wind helping us. The road is flat. We're going into the wind at almost 25 miles an hour, and Ed's at the front, so he's pulling hard. I'm probably sitting in a 53.16 or something like that. Because I'm spinning 84, 85, 53.16 or 53.15. I don't know which, doesn't matter. You gotta be able to ride all these gears. That's why you carry them. Now the road is kicking up. I'm in the same gear and the cadence stays about the same. It's flipping. If you look at my RPM, it's flipping because there are times when I have to feather the gear, meaning I have to soft pedal to avoid braking. But mostly I'm staying around 80, 85, 75 to 85, because this is like climbing. You're going into the wind, pushing a big gear. Let's say on a flat road. But this is like false flat. But the pavement is nice. And usually you will find everywhere, if the pavement is nice, the road is more heavily traveled. That's why the pavement is nice. Because they work on roads that are heavily used. So Ed pulls off, and then I believe Julian takes over. You can see how close I have the pulse wheel. Yeah, I'm not even a foot away. I'm closer. The camera is showing real deal. And just intuitively, I can tell I'm not looking at his tire. I'm staying close because it's windy. I'm right at sweet spot. And we've got more climbing coming, so I'm aware, so I don't want to waste any energy here. I had taken a longer pull earlier in the ride, so we got a big group. I don't feel like I need to do anything up here. When we turn, I'm going to slide back to the back and just sit in. So you see how I'm a little to the right? I am not overlapping Paul. So if he were to move to the right, there would be no conflict. And when I do overlap, I will move further away. That's the way you have to ride, so you're not overreacting. We're not running an echelon. The wind is basically coming from straight in front. It was 2% a bit. This FM362 is also heavily cycled. If you stay on it beyond where we're going to turn, it takes you to a town called Whitehall, Texas. So we're within probably 5 kilometers or 3 miles of Whitehall, Texas. We just didn't go directly there. And there are many nice county roads out here. You can see that this road is going up. It says 1.9. It's going to level off a little bit. So we're going into the wind on a false flat. Julian's not going to stay up there too long, so I'll pull off. We're working hard here. That's where he pulls off. Paul takes over. Paul's going to ride us to the turn. So because of how close I'm following Paul, if you look at my heart rate, I'm still in zone 2. The effort feels harder than zone 2. But that's the reason we build a strong base. When your base is good, it takes a lot more work to get you into the higher zones. So then you're fast. It's really fast. So even though we're going fast up this climb, I'm still at the top of zone 2. 2 so it's like 3%, almost 4%. So yeah, so Paul's working here. And he's found a rhythm. That's why you have to ride by effort, not speed. If you look at my shadow, I'm just relaxed. And because he rides really smooth, I can follow real close. Look at my wheel, it's right up there. I'm less than, maybe I'm about 2 inches off his wheel probably. That's why those motorcyclists are out here, the same reason we are. You don't have to stop very often. So as you can see, we are now approaching the highest elevation of the ride. And in a little bit, I think we'll get a good shot of there's a hill coming up before the turn. And this road is chip seal, meaning it's not buttery smooth asphalt. The road lasts longer, it's more durable. It can contend with the rain and other stuff much better. But this is a good quality chip seal. It doesn't feel, I've been over worse. I didn't really, it didn't bother me at all. The road is going up here. If you look at the gradient, it will start letting you know what we're dealing with. But I can visually see that it's going up. So when you have not done your base work and you come on a ride like this, it's leveling, the road's leveling off. These little efforts cause you to go into your higher zones quicker because your base is not very wide. We're going downhill, the speeds are faster. We're doing almost 40K, 35, 37 miles an hour maybe. $60 kilometers an hour right there. That's 39 miles an hour. I didn't realize we were going that fast. That means going the other way, that would have been a good climb in the opposite direction. Look at this. Under the trees right here. Even on this busy road, it's pretty out here. So you see why 362 is a heavily cycled route, even though the speeds are higher. This is the climb I was talking about. So after this climb, we're going to turn. But you see it in the distance, a decent length. See the watts going up, almost 3%, 2.7%. And when you're riding like that, just keep your effort consistent. Don't worry about the speed. Do whatever effort you want to do. Because you're basically going into the wind up the hill in this situation. Keep my cadence in the same range. So you've got to be able to ride your gears. I mean, in this situation, if all you're going to do is fan a small gear, you can be inefficient in that situation. Now I'm back to sweet spot. I'm out of endurance zone. I'm at sweet spot right now.
Right turn, my brother.
I'm gonna let them know we're turning right. So if your group is going to ride at 4, 5, 6 different zones or whatever it is, you need to train in those zones so you can tolerate that. This is County Road 302. One of the riders in the group, Doug Shot, took a picture right here. Look at the sky in the distance. It was a beautiful picture. So this is kind of a secondary road or even third level. It's very quiet. Get a car now and then. In a little bit, we say car back, and these guys act like they don't hear us. There's a car that needs to go, let him go. Now look at Shepulsa.
How many car bags do you need?
It would say car back, car back. He put his butt in the road and the car was going by. You know, it's like when you ride by yourself, who's going to call a car back for you? Please. You're going to be sitting out in the middle of the road. You better know what's coming. That's your responsibility. The group doesn't have the responsibility to tell you car back. And you heard how many times we said car back. That's what I said. How many car backs do you need before you move over? This road a long time ago was all chopped up. They fixed it up nicely. Now it's smooth, it's solid. This stretch is a newer piece. You can see where this is the older pavement. First time we came out here, I think it was actually gravel or something, or just really torn up. So this is where we're going to hit the highest point in the ride. That's what Logan just said, nice route. He likes the route. So these are the roads where you and your group can spread out, but you still got to be aware of the other road users. So you get a car, maybe one car every 10 minutes or whatever. And when there's a car behind the group, close it up, let them go on by their business. You don't want them sitting behind you. So you guys can ride. That was what those car backs were about. Let the people by. There's a car up, I think. So this is where we hit. We started the highest climb in this ride, and it's long. So 3% is gonna curve. There used to be more trees out here when we used to come. I don't know if they cut them down or not. I remember this area seeming more bushy, but maybe anyway. 5%, 5.8 in that curve. Now it's leveling off. In about probably 500 meters is when I have my problem with my chain. You know, it's like it fell off the front. I think I may have shifted in the back into my cross chain gear, and somehow, I don't know, because I don't ride that gear that much. About 3%, 3.9, 4% was going back up. It's a nice little climb. They just fixed this section too. This is a new piece. However they did this pavement here, it's not quite chip sealed, but it's tough. I like it. This is the older one, you can see. So right here, somehow I started having problems with my chin, because I was riding fine. I was enjoying the climb. And you'll see me drift back. I get out of the way so I don't slow people down. I don't know if I would hear it. I heard right there. I'm having problems with my chain. Right there. So I flipped it back onto the big chain ring because it's like it came off the big chain ring. So when I got home, I checked it and sorted it, and I don't know what caused it. And then I put it back, and then I'm going to ride back to the front. So everybody's pretty much working here, you know. We've been on this thing. It's still going up. They call it Dyer Mill Road, but it's also known as County Road 302. So you know, because it's a county road, you can see the level of the quality of the pavement is not like 362 that we're on, the FM, Farm to Market Road. But it's still pretty good. But on these roads, you got to definitely be watching for potholes and stuff. I think it levels off here now. In a few kilometers, you're going to see where it has a bunch of rollers. It's actually pretty, from the distance, you see the rollers. But it also has a bunch of ruts. potholes and whatever. Because they don't come out here to fix these roads. I mean, there's nothing out here. Look right or left, just shrubs and trees. People's got some homes out here. That's about it. It's not that busy. It's not a major road. It's a rural neighborhood road. That's it. And you saw Michael point at the hole. Don't yell hole, just point at it. So wherever you point, the riders behind you will go away from your motion. And it's not just for holes, road furniture or whatever. You point at it. Unless they know something's there, don't go there. When I'm pulling out the front, I steer the group away from stuff so I don't have to point at it. So if you're following my wheel, there's no way I'm going to ride into a pothole. So you know you're going to be good. Well, some riders will ride beyond their level and they're riding cross-eyed so they don't see anything. But this is how you climb in a group. You pretty much want to maintain your cadence that works for you. I climb 75 to about 85, 90. It depends on the situation. Especially if to sustain it, you got to be efficient. And if you need to accelerate, you can rev it up higher, but then you return to your rhythm. There's 3% here. I didn't realize it was still going at like 5.7. So you're riding, you just feel it right there, kicked up. And now we're gonna descend here again, and you'll see the rollers will just start coming thick and fast. I like coming out here because look around you. No cars, no noise. It's you and the trees, and sometimes we can even hear birds chirping. That's what it's about. We get traffic during the week where we live. So who wants to get out on the weekend and go sit in traffic? Even in my car, I'd much rather drive out here than in town. It's pretty. So when you go for a drive, these are the kind of roads you will come on. It's quiet, you know. This is where I raised the camera. I realized it was a little low. I raised it up from all the bumps. I can't make the clamp any tighter, you know, because it's got the gasket and everything for the bars. It's pretty tight. But when I put the camera on there and all the bouncing, it's almost like I'm effectively leaning on it. It exceeds the maximum, you know, weight that it can handle. It's not too bad. On smooth roads, it's not an issue. So you can see we're still in the highest elevation of the ride, and we're going to be encountering some pretty nice rollers. I hope the camera got the shots that I saw. But the rollers are impressive from a distance, and then you get to them and then you feel them and you're like, man, when you're on them you can't really appreciate the beauty of them, but from before you get to them, that's when you can take it in. Pavement is nice here. That's the thing, you get lulled into this nice piece and then all of a sudden you get onto some crappy pothole filled pavement. Everything's out here on this route. Look in the distance. That's not one of the most impressive rollers, so hopefully we'll get a shot of one of them. You'll be able to see it. But it's probably 3% or something. So we're descending and then we're gonna get up there. That's what I'm talking about. Look at it. All of a sudden, one little spot there is almost like just that spot got damaged. So why just that spot? Probably moisture and the substrate beneath the road. You know. And who knows how long this road's been out here for. This is where you take a drink. If you need to eat something, throw something in there. For me, usually I like to eat before I start to climb. But when I'm working hard, I don't want solid food. So if anything, take a gel. We're not going super hard here. I'm back in zone 2. But everybody's different. I may be in zone 2. The next person may be in a higher zone or a lower zone. You know, you gotta... This is when I don't want to talk. I want to be watching the wheels. I want to watch the road so you avoid those potholes. Saves your wheels. Even though I know how to true wheels, I don't want to be truing wheels all the time. I get the tension just right. They last a long time before I need to mess with them. I didn't want to stop. That's why I went to the right. Plus it gives me better visibility to see what's coming on the road. We're going to be turning or something. That's my nav. I'm not sure why it's...
Right turn.
Yeah, right turn. And this way you're going to see some pretty rollers. Where 302 turns into, let's see, I think it's still 302, but the name changes from Dyer Mill, I think, to Finken Road or something like that. It'll probably show up on that insert. It still says County Road 302, but they renamed it. Look at it, look in the distance, look at those rollers. Is that pretty or what? That's what we saw. That's a good shot. So the climbers in our group really like this route. Look at that. So there are two ways you can attack a climb like that. It's not super long. If the group, you can see my watts are up. It was almost 90 RPM, 95. So I'm basically spinning a faster cadence, then I shift up once we finish it. Or you can just stand since it's short and get over it. So we basically attack these rollers. We don't mess around. And if you're not used to that, that's when you can start having cramps if you do too much. If you have not trained your body. So we're going to hit another roller here. See the watts go up. My cadence is up. So here I'm spinning a faster cadence. And Paul is dodging a rut. That's what he dodged there. And we're going pretty fast. So we run over that bump again. So now, after all this time, we got one car going by. These are the kind of roads to get a workout. And that's why you don't want to hold them up. When they're coming, close it up, let them go by. So you're not annoying anybody. I don't get on my bike to go block traffic. I get out to go ride. And I blend in with the other road users. This is where you can take a drink and kind of get ready for the next effort. This road will take us to Todd Mission. It's probably the biggest town. So this is taking us back. If you look at the inset of the map on the left, we're headed east back into Montgomery County. So we started between Harris, got into Montgomery, and Waller counties on this ride. The 3 counties. It's kind of a false flat here, but we're still moving. And it's the wind. You can hear that wind. We're working it. The wind is challenging. That's why the watts are up. So I don't know what you did this weekend, but this is part of what we did on Saturday. On this ride, I actually ended up setting my fastest PR in a long time, according to Strava, for 100 miles. That's 162 kilometers for those of you across the pond. And that was not my goal. Because after I left this group, I just continued to ride for about another hour by myself. So even with all of that, with my pace versus the group pace, I still covered 162 kilometers fastest, since I started using Strava anyway. So it's a good ride, it's a good workout. But most of the ride was aerobic for me, other than the areas where I was doing anaerobic efforts. So if you look at the zones on the bottom of the screen, you can see that the highest is 150 to 199 watts. That's aerobic. So it wasn't a super hard ride because you're sitting in a group quite a bit of the time. But it was hard enough. But that all comes from all the work that you do to get you to where you're not anaerobic from small efforts. Another bump here coming up. So I hope you got a chance to get some K's in and keep all the doctors fired.